Welcome back for another installment of Wutang, an American Saga, Season 3, Episodes 4 and 5. I'm reviewing. Excuse me. I'm reviewing both because not much happened on episode 4. I mean, basically, they were on a tour of the East Coast, and a few things came out of this episode. Raekwon wanted to know how many members are Wu-Tang are there? Is it 3? No, I'm tripping. I'm bugging. Let me start over. No, I'm not starting over. You got to see this raw and uncut. All right, so are there 8 members or are there 9 members of Wu-Tang? Because why is Killer getting the same amount of money as the rest of us? Killer is only on one song, mind you. And it was also revealed that, you got, truth be told, you got is only on 2. But, like Divine and RZA, like, we're all one. We're all Wu-Tang. So we all gonna get the same amount of pay. No. You gonna have to cut the pie 5 ways. No, cut the pie 9 ways. Why are we cutting this pie 9 ways? Those are slithers at this point. You need to divide it up based on songs. At least in my mind. That's how I feel. Like, why is Killer getting as much money and he's only on 1 and I'm on like 15 songs, 15 tracks? No. And yeah, like he may be on the stage the whole time, but he's not putting in the work. He's not exhausting the energy. Why does he get to get paid? And so another thing that came out on this episode is that Dennis is definitely cheating on Shuri, Dennis being Ghostface, and Divine does not care. He told RZA they have an arrangement. So, whatever. It showed me that, Divine lives by the code, hoes bros before hoes. And I don't buy into that. I may be a hip-hop lover, but I am a girly girl and a girl's girl. Don't do that. Don't do that to the ladies. But, did I expect more from them? No. So, and another thing that came out on this episode was that Power was definitely gearing up to get Wu Wear going. And there was some guy who was going from city to city selling merch. And instead of like beating him up like some thug would do, he said, no, we're going to join forces and see how he gets it done. And that's what they did. So, and another thing that came up, they really realized when, the money was being divvied up that Moot was taking money off the top. Ghostface discovered that and he approached them because, that's what they do. I'm going to approach a nigga. I don't want nobody sound like me on no album. But, Mook wasn't a rapper. That's just a line from a Wu-Tang lyric. But anyhow, so the other thing that sadly occurred on this episode is that You God's son was shot, unfortunately. And You God he's on parole, and he stated in this episode that, he didn't want any guns around him. However, he wanted off that bus once he found out his son was shot. And, like, Power's like, yo, because that's how Power does. Yo, we gonna get you a ticket in the next city, just come back on. And You guys like, no, let me off this bus. So he got off the bus in the middle of nowhere and walked into the sunset, and we open up on episode 5 where he's at the hospital, wrecking shop, like going like pulling back curtains. Where's Dante? Unlike a normal person who would go to the front desk and say, hey, I'm here to check on my son, he was shot. So he finally got to the nurse's station, and nurse was like, oh, I know who you are. Yeah, that's me. I'm like, you knew who You God was? Like, I barely knew who You God was, and I'm a Wu-Tang fan. But maybe since they were local celebs and they were in a local hospital, maybe they knew. Like, I knew who Method Man was. He's very, you can, he was known at that time, at that point. Ghostface, Raekwon, maybe even Jizza, but You God? Okay. That's a story that they're telling. And speaking of stories that they're telling, this is the story of the lesser known Wu-Tang members. And they're focusing in on You God, Inspector Deck, and Killer. But it's like, why Killer? Where was Capadonna in all this? Like, Capadonna, to me, is a more important Wu-Tang member. I mean, he actually had an album that was dropped in, like, 97. So why aren't we telling his story? Did he not sign a release for his story to be told? Why Killer? But so I'm going to go I'm not going to tell it in a linear way. But basically, Killer was torn between, trying to be a rapper, trying to be a part of Wu-Tang, and being a cab driver. Like, the rest of his family. And then speaking of the rest of his family, we find out that they're all musically inclined. Like one cousin or somebody had a gig at the Blue Note. The other cousin was doing some sort of music. Everybody was musically inclined except for Killer. But little did they know, he has the gift of rhyming. So he kind of is musically inclined because rap is it's an art form, is a music genre now. So he was torn. His uncle was like, yeah, you could join the family business, buy into this cab business. Who knew that, you could create generational wealth and legacies with a cab business, but I guess you could. And so he was torn. He told his uncle, like, hey, I actually want to be a part of Wutang crew, Wutang Clan. Then he pulled out his tape. His uncle pulled out a tape. Yo, he said, I'm on this track. Yo, that's my favorite track, son. He didn't say son, but it's like, this old man knows about Wutang Clan. Because as I recall from I Need Love back in 88, or was that 87? The father said, rap, that's not music, that's noise. So I just assumed that everybody back then, because like back then, my parents weren't really feeling rap. They knew like Heavy D and the Boys, but so this old man knew it. So this is basically Killer's story. And there was also a scene that like touched my heart. It touched my soul because of the song that was played. They were playing that Commodore song, and I got real nostalgic for when we used to ride my father's big silver Buick. We used to call it the Gray Ghost, and listen to the Commodores. It just took me back to childhood. But anyhow, so, Raekwon made amends with, like, look, no disrespect, dude. If you need to put the pen to work if you're going to be a rapper. So then back to U-God. U-God was conflicted on, to off the guy because he discovered that it was this guy named Shotty. So he went to the girl who was babysitting's house, and her father, I guess it was his father, answered the door. No, she ain't right. She's something wrong with her. She's not right. And so like they go into the room and they pan and they show all these pills on the chest. Like, are they implying that the girl has mental problems or she's sick or something? I don't know. But she's like, oh my God, don't hurt me. It was this guy. It was like, things just went down. It went left because basically we were out here in the streets and, it didn't seem like conflict, but conflict happened. But, I was always taught run from conflict. Like, don't run to the fight, run away from the fight. But, people always got to be in the mix. I got to see what happened. But see, that's how bullshit happens. And unfortunately, U-God's son Dante was shot, and he apparently has permanent kidney damage. I don't know what his status is right now, like where he is in life. I'm assuming he's an adult at this point, but that was an unfortunate turn of events. But now U-God is on a mission to get revenge against this guy Shotty. So, but he's torn. The story they're telling that he's torn between the street way or, what RZA promised him, like leave the streets alone. Give me 5 years. Leave the streets alone. But he found some intel. This dude, Shotty, his friend, he was paging him back and forth. Remember, everybody had pagers back then. Like, yo, he's here. And Shotty's like, who you talking to? Oh, a girl's supposed to come over. But meanwhile, he was going to go in there. He was ready to off this guy. But he got a page and he called on the payphone. Remember, everybody used payphones? Yeah, what's up? And basically, it was a baby mama saying Dante wanted to speak to him. So then he was like, okay, he made his decision. My child is alive and well. Not necessarily well, but I'm going to bypass this. I'm going to get this dude a pass, and I'm going to choose the right path for my life so I won't end up back in jail. So he went to the hospital, and that was basically his story. But the main story I wanted to talk about was Inspector Deck. Because the guy playing Inspector Deck I don't know how Inspector Deck really truly acts, but they're like playing him like this villain, like this guy who would follow you down a dark alleyway and R-word you. Like he's just this creep. Like he's like a real creeper. But Inspector Deck takes it upon himself because he wants to get his rap career popping. In episode 2, we established that he wanted to get in the studio. He was the one who took the damaged zip CD. What is it called? Zip tape? What were they called? Zip disk. That's how long ago I used a disc was. The zip disk to this NASA guy to like recover RZA's files. Like he's very anxious and hungry. So he went into RZA's lab, which he had tape on the board saying "Do not touch." But he was just like, yeah, smoking his blunt, yeah, like, and then start rapping and rhyming. He started playing with the keyboard, but then he was like, yeah, you know what, F this tape, and pull the tape back, start messing with the boards. And then we find out that RZA discovered, like, he was in the studio, so you came into my lab, used my boards without my permission to record. You said you want to put in some work. Good job, nigga. That's fire. He didn't say fire because fire wasn't the term, but good job, nigga. So then we also discover that Divine said early on that they were trying to get a soundtrack deal with Tales from the Hood. If many of you know, Tales from the Hood is a cult classic from the 90s, a horror black film where it was with what's his name who played, Prince's daddy, and he also played Link from Mod Squad, Clarence Williams III. He was in Tales from the Hood. He was like, get your shit. Was it niggas? I can't remember, but he had a line. But so they decided they were going to submit Inspector Deck's song to the soundtrack immediately. They submitted it. And so he was like, yo, we'll submit it under your name, Divine said. We're going to submit this under your name, Inspector Deck. And Inspector Deck's like, nah, this is a Wu-Tang production. Bad move, Inspector Deck. Bad move, because that could have been your time to shine, and your album wasn't released until 1999. So, and it wasn't like a success to my understanding. So you could have gotten your real shine had you used your name back then. I mean, so we established that Inspector Deck is a rapper and a producer. Yes. And so they head on over to Woo Wear, where, they're having this grand opening Woo Wear to the store. I remember when I lived in Atlanta, they had a Woo Wear store, and I always wonder, why is it up there instead of down here on the street? It was like on the second level of a building in Midtown Atlanta. But I don't think I ever went in, or did I? I think I did. I'm not sure. But Woo Wear was a success. People were like lining up, like buying stuff off the shelves, and the girl that Inspector Deck got with in the episode wanted free stuff. Shuri wanted free stuff. Shuri rolls up, and here's another thing that was going on in this episode. They kept hearing Biggie's "One More Chance," the remix, as out on the streets. And so they were like, yo, what is that? What is that? So Shuri actually pulls up blasting "One More Chance." And they're like, yo, you're not supposed to be playing anything but Wu-Tang. I'm like, oh my God. You can only listen to Wu-Tang. Now, mind you, there are enough members of Wu-Tang to listen to them for life. But at this point, all the members of Wu-Tang didn't have their own individual records or albums out. So we can only listen to 36 Chambers, ODB, Method Man to Cal. That's it. Oh no. So Shuri was like dancing in the sunset. And at this point in my mind, I thought this was going to be how the song Ice Cream came about, because Ice Cream had the most mainstream success at that time. It came out, but it was really about how Method Man how Raekwon and Ghostface were like coming together, like, yo, we gotta put in work, we gotta take the crown back, we can't let them take the crown from us, we gonna take it. And so that next episode, we see that it's going to be about Only Built from Cuban Links, and it's going to be an allegory episode. Like, I don't want to see it, because the way they did the ODB episode was just, it was all over the place. So I feel like they should treat Only Built from Cuban Links with care and dignity, and they should just tell a straight story about how it came about. But you know what? Tell me what you thought. Were these episodes giving what it needed to give? Or as the kids say, giving what it needed to give? Let me know. Drop into the comments, and like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Peace.